Welcome to Inside News with Dale Matthews and Mike Jones. Despite the rumors, I'm Dale Matthews and he's Mike Jones.
Yes, instead of the other way around like everybody was thinking.
Yes.
Sometimes you just have to come on and correct the record.
Yes, we spend about a quarter of our time on this show simply correcting the record. Right. Sometimes our own.
You'd think we would start using CDs or something instead of records.
CDs? Yeah, well, how about tapes?
Yes, or,
8-track tapes.
Right. Yes. Or reel to reel.
Yes.
Yes, now
We'll try to be real from now on.
Real, yes.
Okay, wire recorders.
Yeah, boy. That's a bizarre thing. Of course, here we are talking about stuff has nothing to do with local politics.
Hey, that's okay.
Wire recorders. I mean, isn't that one of the most bizarre things? My father knew a guy who was a private eye back in the day, like 30s and 40s. And he had a wire recorder, and that's what he would use to snoop on to check and see if the wife was stooping some other guy or whatever, and interesting that we learned how to record on a wire before something else.
And these were two reels where a wire would run from one to the other, and instead of recording on tape, they were recording on a piece of metal wire.
Yeah, bizarre. But and I'm not stupid. I know that we did record on stuff before that. It was like a wax, or what was it that Thomas Edison first? It was
wax.
Circular.
They were wax,
it was wax
rolls. Yeah. They were cylinders.
Yeah, and that must have been some pretty hard wax in order to be able to take the cutting and not. But I mean, because you take candle wax or something like that, you're not going to cut anything into that's going to hold up to having a needle run through it.
I wonder if some kinds of parties in the South when it was really hot, where I don't know.
I'm sure they came up with something better than that before too long. Anyway, we were talking about Josephine County politics.
We were talking about our recordings and the wax that the city councilors deserve. And one of them centered around just last night, Sandy Casanelli was saying, hey, look, I spent all this money on getting something into the voters' pamphlet, and it really didn't turn out to be a pamphlet at all. It turned out to be a single sheet of paper. And the $350, she says, that I spent ended up along with 13 others on one side of this piece of paper. Who made this decision? Where'd the money go? We're supposed to follow the money. That's one of the things that we do as citizens, right? And one of the things that we do, and just the fact that this is talking about Grants Pass City and not the county's involved in this also. And she said, I don't know, and I can't get an answer out of anybody. Was this a county decision, a city decision? And you mean to tell me that this was the most important thing to their political careers? I mean, a number of them are probably going to get tossed out because of this bad idea, and they have absolutely no idea. Oh, we're just giving it up to somebody else. We don't know what's going to happen. Really? With this important election? I find that really hard to believe. Anybody that watches this show probably also finds it hard to believe. Anyway, we're just going to end up where here's Darren Fowler saying, something that never actually happened. Well, I'm going to get in touch with her. I'm going to tell her. No, all that they did was tell her, we don't know. And they could have said those 3 words right there in that meeting. Let's let Darren Fowler say it for himself.
But we'll make sure that she's notified that she needs to complain to Josephine County rather than to us. So if you get that for me, I'd be glad to pass that along.
Dave?
Just a comment, Dan. Yes, I, in fact, had mentioned to Sandy Casanelli, she's at the wrong meeting. That is definitely a county issue.
Well, that was not Mayor Fowler.
No, that wasn't. But you know what? That thing that David Reeves just said, that was just complete lie. He was laughing about it. You heard him. And he did not say that to Sandy Casanelli, not at all. So why is he telling the other counselors that he had mentioned that to her? He didn't. And does he really think that he did? It's bad enough that a citizen has to ask twice on these things, right? It's bad enough that people say we're going to get back in touch with her and we're going to give her the answer when they didn't give her the answer, when they could have just said we don't know, which would have been really fast. Those 3 words could have been yelled out in the meeting at any time.
Sure.
And what are they going to do? Throw you out of office?
Yeah, and the mayor could have said it, or
right.
David Reeves could have come over and whispered into the mayor's ear and told him what was what, and he could have said it out loud or whatever. I mean, there's any number of ways that could have played out differently than what it did.
Instead, David Reeves takes the time to lie about it. I mean, I know some people don't like the word lie, but that's what that was. He never talked to her about this. He never told her that. I told her. No, you didn't. Why are you telling us that that's what you're telling these other people that's what you did, and you didn't do it? That's like Cheryl Walker. It never happened. So what are you doing there, bud? Why would you say that? Okay, so, but these are the kinds of questions they just prefer not to answer. And you may recall from yesterday that when Sandy Casanelli got up, one of the first things she did was praise the people who at that first meeting right after the election, she said, thank you very much to the people that defeated the sales tax. Well, they don't like that kind of talk. So, and they've been all over me, especially all over me, about they don't like that I say certain things up there, which just, I'm not yelling at them or running around the room or biting the furniture or anything. I'm just saying, you said this, but you did that. You were saying this, but that's correct. Or the commissioners, here's what's happening with the commissioners. And most of the time they look at me like they didn't know. Well, I didn't know that they were doing that. Simon Hare was in jail. Well, they should know that one. But they were treating me differently than everybody else, and I don't like that. I want to be treated the same as everybody else. Are there certain rules that only apply to me? I don't like that. Okay, because we keep them accountable for you. This is what you asked for, and that's what we do. So should we be treated this way? So the next one involves some guy that does nothing but complain all the time. Go ahead, just play whatever this goofball has to say, Mike. Whoops, wrong goofball.
I want to let you know that I'm working on with Dave Reeves something to say during public comment. I'd like to have something that I read that was shorter than what's on here that says kind of what I've been saying, but kind of that it is a courtesy that we have public comment, and I may also include that I may not open it up for public comment at any meeting. I may choose to, depending upon time constraints or subject matter. So I'm working on that. I'd like to try and curb this before our election year.
I am sorry. I am sorry. I meant me. I was trying to make fun of myself, and I ended up saying that. And that's not nice. So
and what happened there is that before the show, Dale and I had a conversation.
Yes.
Never supposed to say that, but anyway, we did. and I had played the end of that clip, and Dale said, yeah, here, roll it back and put that one in too. And so we did. And then we sort of had our minds in a forward place, and instead we were playing stuff out of the past.
Our minds are often in a forward place. So what was it that Darren Fowler said? Well, first he says, it's a courtesy. They don't treat us with courtesy. So to say that they're offering this time as a courtesy is just, well, it's ironic. And then he says, I may choose to do X and Y. Oh, really? Is that what you're going to choose for your community? And it all depends on time constraints. There aren't any time constraints. They don't have any. I mean, if they go 2 or 3 hours, it doesn't bother them. And it may also depend on subject matter. Oh, really? And now, are you going to be the supreme arbiter of all subject matter, Mr. Mayor? Really?
Well, apparently he is.
Yes.
Because, I mean, he just said that. So he will be the, he will be the emperor of the Imperial Senate / municipal, council or chambers or something.
Look, I know where a lot of this is aimed. They don't like that I get up on your behalf, on our behalf, and I hold their feet to the fire. They don't like it. They especially don't like it now that they're going into re-election time. The mayor and 3 councilor positions. They don't like it.
Yeah, and the silly part about that is that of course it's not going to change anything.
Right,
it'll
right.
the only thing it'll change is Dale standing there saying that instead of saying it here and then putting up videos. They're just going to put up videos. I think probably the only thing that will benefit them is they will not have been tweaked by something Dale said and then say something stupid after. That could be a benefit.
That really would be a good benefit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they're deciding that citizen comments aren't really welcome at these meetings, especially as Mayor Fowler put it, they're going into election season. They're not concerned that people are going to get up and say, I'm running for election. Big deal. So who cares if they're running for election for a county commissioner position? What do these guys care? What they care about is they don't want anybody getting up and saying, remember that sales tax? They want to forget the sales tax. They're ready to move on. So I want to know, since when I got up on this meeting that you're going to see, that everybody ahead of me, every single person ahead of me said something about the county or the state or the whatever. Now it's 2 weeks later, and I want to know, in this meeting, they did the same thing. Now, he said, I don't want you talking about anything that we can't do something about this, not about the city. Just me, only me. Does this rule only apply to me? Here's what this goofball has to say. Sorry about before.
Yes, front row.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. So I'm going to try to find out what the new rules are. 2 weeks ago, the people that got up to speak at this podium before me all spoke about both the county and Grants Pass City, all of them. When I got up, I started to speak about the county and the mayor stopped me. I'm the one that can only speak about Grants Pass. Today, with the exception of this last gentleman, I wish him luck, everybody had something to say about something other than Grants Pass, and they weren't stopped. So if these are the new rules, if they apply only to me, I'd like you to tell me now, or you can use your protected time at the end to explain to each other how the rules are only there for Dale Matthews.
Well, and you know what, Dale, this is the key. This is the key to the whole thing, because he thought that he was going to get away with, just censoring what you have the right to talk about. But then you threw that at him. And then he decides, well, obviously now, since that's the case, I'm not going to have any choice but to cut everybody off. So
except
Dale Matthews.
Yes, I'm the one. But that's not what he said. What he said is he may cut back for time constraints or for subject matter.
Right. Yeah. Both of which will immediately affect anybody who's there for public comment when you're in the room. Yeah.
So you walk in, and you may recall this was something that was suggested by Tony Webb, and later she says, I never suggested it, but she did, that maybe everybody should write down their questions for the county commissioners on a piece of paper and have to stick to that card or piece of paper. Okay. Yes, she did say it. Go ahead.
I don't know why that matters to them. Why should they care what you're talking about? Because, as I've observed a lot of this from the outside watching these situations. And, if they would just sit there and go, yeah, all right. And then just let it move on, there would be no problem. But they can't do that.
No.
There's something that has wound its way to the inside and is causing them great discomfort.
You're going to say that right in front of us? You're going to say that you don't like our stand on this city sales tax, and we're right here, and we're forced to not say anything. Yeah, except that the mayor always does. He's always got some snide comment like, well, we'll just have to check that out to see if it's true. Or you ought to go look at your videotape, Mr. Matthews. Or, who can possibly follow that? What? Why is he? It's not very respectful. Okay, so
Well,
if you want to
I'm
hand
thinking
it out, I'll give it back to you. No problem. No problem, buddy.
maybe he should start sharing his lines with Keith. They could collaborate.
Yeah. Well, so I want to know because, see, they can cut it off. They don't have to allow anybody to talk at all, especially if they think someone's going to say something negative and hurt their chances for reelection. Yeah, right. That's going to happen. I mean, that they're going to have a better chance without it. Well, I don't know. Without this show, they would certainly have a better chance because people wouldn't know most of what was going on. I mean, and the Courier's not reporting this bad stuff. And you're not going to, Joe, forget about it. I mean, they don't even exist when it comes to this. We are pointing out things that they do, and they're perfidy. Got to look that up one of these days, and they're perfidy. And we play, here's the mayor saying it, and then here's the mayor saying something else, and here's him saying something. Hey, which of these is true? They hate that. They hate being held accountable. And there's only, only two goofballs that are holding them accountable. Because you asked us to do that, to be goofballs. Yeah, that's what you asked for. So, so I got my chance to say that. Now, here's just an extra little bit of fun, and I just encourage you just look at the little half smile I've got on my face when I'm more clear about what it is that I'm doing with the city council. I used to praise them all the time. No more. Go ahead, Mike.
Seeing no explanation, I'm going to proceed, assuming that perhaps I can be treated the same as everybody else. I treat you the same as I do the county commissioners.
Sorry, it's my little joke. It's a very small joke, and half of them didn't get it. I treat them the same way I do the county commissioners. I don't think they like that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's what I said at the, I'm playing back tapes of myself. Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so here's the third thing that I had to say on November 18th. And this is, it's leading into Mark Hutto, Mike, so go ahead.
We've had a lot of people watching badcounty.com because we've been playing back your comments that you made during your protected time on, I think it was November 4th, when you were alighting into the 80% of the population that decided they didn't like your plan for a sales tax. And things were said such as, well, they obviously had no reasons to say these things. They didn't have any good reasons at all. Those 80% of the electorate didn't have any good reasons.
Yeah, you remember that, Mike.
Yes, I do, vaguely.
So here's, after the mayor had, his analysis of the situation was that nobody had any good reasons for anything. Here's Mark Hutto, and for those of you who may not have seen this, judge for yourself if it seems to you as if he had good reasons to oppose the sales tax. Go ahead, Mark.
I understand the gravity of the situation that we're facing here, being downtown. There's quite a bit of crime, and I've actually helped solve a few of them, and it is a lot of hard work, and they do need funds, so I'm not here saying I'm not willing to pay anything. But I have some concerns, and in the coin and gold bullion and silver bullion part of my business, on an $1,100 coin, I might make $20. Well, the city's going to make $20 too. So for me, it's a 50% tax.
Yeah. So he had a couple of good reasons to oppose, and the idea that he had nothing, that nobody had anything, is just wrong. And this guy's gotten involved in trying to help and solve crimes. The idea that, go ahead.
Yeah, but it was no. I don't have any good arguments, so I'm saying no.
Oh, that's what he really said. Oh,
yeah.
Check with Wally Hicks. What you really saw was a tape that said, no, I have no good arguments. Ask Wally. He's a county legal counsel. He ought to know. Okay, so here's a little 2-minute compilation, 2 minutes, Mike, of me saying something, and then the mayor, and then me, and then Dan DeYoung, and then Colleen Martin, and then me again. Go ahead, 2 minutes.
What we like to do, or my most favorite thing, is to play Keith Heck and have him argue with Keith Heck, because he says both. So what we did in this case, one of our very most popular videos, got thousands of people talking about it on the radio and on our clips, is we have Mayor Darren Fowler with people standing up at this podium telling you their opinions, like Mark Hutto and like the fellow with Rob Pell and like Colleen Martin, and they're giving some really lucid explanations about why they weren't going to vote for a city sales tax. And then we intersperse that with Mayor Fowler saying they don't have any good reasons. All they can say is nope, nope, no. And then the next person speaks, they don't have any good reasons. All they can say is nope, nope, no, over and over and over again.
They don't have to articulate an argument. All they have to do is say nope, nope, no. We don't have a good argument, so we're saying no.
Or City Councilor DeYoung saying, well, I guess they're obviously not very interested in public safety.
There's a group of people that wants to blame everything on government officials when in actuality, they're not really interested in getting the foundation for most communities, the safety.
And then Colleen Martin coming up saying, we sure are interested in public safety.
We worked really hard in the last 2 ballot elections to get the public safety measures passed. It's really important to us. It's important to our businesses. I support the idea of giving the juvenile justice system open. I think that's a terrific idea. I think it'll help alleviate a lot of the pressure.
Well, I guess they're not very interested in public safety. And the next person getting up, you know, we supported every single attempt to bolster public safety. Well, I guess they're not very interested in public safety. You can say that to yourselves.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Time's up.
Thank you very much for reminding me of that.
Always a pleasure, Dale. Let's see, is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak? Can anybody follow that?
Oh, yes.
That's funny.
So you see why it's absolutely necessary. The Courier's not going to take what they said and what the people said and compare it. They're not going to do that. They could easily. We do. We give you their exact words.
Yeah.
And so what they do, why bother doing this? Because we're holding them accountable. You know, you get up and you say something like, you know, this is going to hurt my business. Well, too bad no one said it was going to hurt their business. We support public safety. Gee, it's too bad no one thinks about public safety. We have some good arguments. Oh, no good arguments. We don't want the property tax for good reasons. Well, I talked to the guy and he said, I don't even care about the children. You know, they're liars. They're liars, they're cheaters, they're using this public time that we're paying for to denigrate us. And then I'm going to stand up, buddy, and I'm going to say, no, I'm going to fight City Hall. This is wrong for you to do. And here's the 2 clips. They hate that. So I'm not really surprised, Mike, that they would go out of their way to say no to everybody just to shut off me pointing out, sorry, it's not about me, but me pointing out that they're liars, that they're cheating, that they're exaggerating, that they're being unfair to everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this. It's like, no, we don't like your argument, so we're saying no. That's what he's doing.
All right. If they're so proud of themselves, they were congratulating you. Said, "Oh, we're doing the will of the people." Well, I never said we were doing the will. Yes, you did. Well, we're kind of happy and we're ready to move on. I say you're kind of happy and ready to. Oh, well, I never really said we're happy and ready to move on. Yes, you did. And so this is what drove Dave Toller wild. Absolutely wild. And then he started doing the most bizarre things. It makes them crazy when they get up and they use their time, their protected time, and then we start quoting from their protected time. But we're protected. No, you're not. You just think that you're protected. We're going to play it back. And then we're going to remind you that we're playing it back.
Yeah, they're only protected from comment at that time, not It's not for all time, just so you know.
Oh, you mean you wouldn't mean to be saying that it's not permanent?
Yes, right. It's not.
There's no
permanent
such thing as
protection.
permanent in this life, Mike.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm wrong.
Well, I know that the city attorney is livid, and so was who is that? The biggest bald liar. What's that guy's name? The guy that claims that nothing was said in that courtroom, that it wasn't on tape. Also, not talking about Wally Hicks. And not even Dan DeYoung, the other guy, the guy that makes up stories about people that he's talked to.
Oh, you're talking about Roy Lindsay.
Roy Lindsay, right. And so that was damning about them, about what Bartholomew said in the courtroom. And so there's Dan DeYoung. No, not Dan DeYoung. There's Roy Lindsay at a meeting of Oath Keepers. That didn't happen. That's not on tape. And I said to Wally Hicks, who was right there, I said, you know it. Well, I'm not quite sure. He was in the courtroom. There were two of them, and there were two of us, Mike and I. We know what was said. What these professionals that are paid to do this? I mean, okay, so Roy Lindsay's not paid. Okay, I get it. I understand. But they do have these official positions, and they don't know what was said in the courtroom. Really? They don't know? They don't want to know. They don't want to remember, or they want to lie about it in the public? I don't understand that. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't want to understand it. Why would they do that?
Well, because they're trying to get somewhere, and if they have to deal with what they've said,
yes,
then that's an issue for them.
It is. And so you see how far that the mayor is willing to go, and do you see anybody there saying, "Now wait a minute, Mr. Mayor, this is ridiculous." Certainly, I mean, the fact they called in David Reeves to get involved in this is a clue. They really wanted, they are desperate to shut off being held accountable. They must, because he even said it. I want to stop this before the election season. Well, yeah, of course they do. They don't want to be held accountable when people are considering whether to vote for him or not. If you lie and you cheat, you might be able to get away with it for a while. You can even go to jail when you're supposed to be on county business and maybe not be held fully accountable. But eventually a day of reckoning comes for you. And part of the reason we're here is to make sure it comes before the millennium. Oh, too late. Anyway, here's what Colleen Martin from the Chamber of Commerce had to say about what the city councilors were doing with this sales tax and with their attitude. Go ahead.
I ask you, please bring this community together. We need to unite, not divide, and that's what you're doing to us as a business community. Just say no. Either resolution, neither one of them works well.
Yeah, Mr. Fowler's right. She was advocating just saying no there.
Oh, brother.
Oh, that's what she said.
Well,
she apparently didn't have a very good argument because she's just saying no.
Then the weirdest thing happened on that same meeting on November 18th. The mayor, after saying that people like you and me, like you and me and Mike, who were trying to hold them accountable, what they've been saying now, what the mayor apparently agrees with, what Dan DeYoung and a couple of other counselors said on KJO, was that we're the bomb throwers. We're throwing a bomb in their carefully laid out plans to raise sales tax and be the only one in the whole state that's doing this, and we wouldn't go along with them, so we're the bomb throwers. Well, I would submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, that they are the bomb throwers because of the impact that this would have on the local community and on the Chamber of Commerce. As she just said, you're dividing the community. So, irony of ironies. I just try to stop laughing while you listen to this. This is a little extended segment with Darren Fowler talking about, after all that, and after telling Mike that, even if it was all going crazy, that we'd probably keep it going for another couple of years. Oh, maybe we'll run more businesses out. Here's Darren Fowler saying his true heartfelt feelings about the small businesses in our community. Play that clip.
I'd like to expand on that Small Business Saturday proclamation we had earlier. Each year I try and remind people that you spend a lot of money during Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays. And I would request that you would hold some of that money back to spend locally on purpose.
You got to be
choose
kidding
a few businesses downtown Grants Pass that you like and you want to be around next summer, and go down and spend 25 or 50 or $100 at those shops so that they have a good season as well. The temptation is incredible now to shop online, have it delivered to your house, or save it all up for a trip to, God forbid, Medford, or
this is what Marcato was
someplace
saying.
fun like Portland. But please, purpose to spend some of your money here in Grants Pass. The job you may save might be your own.
You're
or
kidding
your kid's
me.
job. So think about where you spend your money. It does matter.
What? Mike,
how can you be so like ramming this sales tax down their throat and then turn around saying, oh yeah, you really got to support these people? Well, where are you on that? You were just about to slam them with something that was going to really nail their business. And then, oh yeah, you want to make sure and help those people. Yeah, I'm really on their side. He may believe that, the idea that they were pushing wasn't going to hurt anybody at all. And
no, wait a minute. No, I got to stop you. You said,
yeah, but hang on, before you go, let me just say, listen, I think the point behind this is that this is the reason why these people can't be in charge, because I don't think he was aware that this thing was going to hurt and maybe run some of these people out of business. And then he comes by and say, oh yeah, I remember to support those guys. I don't think he's aware. I don't think he's wise enough to have figured that whole situation out. It's just should be reason number one why the guy's got to go.
My point was, you had said to him, what if you were driving people out of business? What would you do? Let's see. If we were driving them out of business, we'd let it go for another year or two.
Yeah, and listen, this is the disconnect that people like this have.
Yeah,
he doesn't get that. When you destroy the business is gone. Yeah, well, that's right, exactly. No, I think this guy is clueless there. I think what I said to him probably didn't register. He's probably not really thinking. He's thinking I'm speaking to a camera right now, and I'm going to make noises that sound like what a mayor should say in this situation.
Okay, what a mayor should say in this situation is, I say to you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mike Jones, Mayor, what happens if it turns out that your plan is driving half of the businesses out of business in our area? What would your immediate response be? What would it be, Mr. Mayor Jones?
Yeah. Well, here's the problem, Dale.
You would stop. You would stop.
I'm not that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Well, I wouldn't even propose it in the first place, and this is the difference between him and I in terms of where we're going. But but listen, there's clearly a disconnect in that guy's head.
Yeah,
clearly.
A reasonable person would say, oh, well, if that was the case, I don't think that's going to be the case, Mr. Camera Guy. But if that was the case, of course, we would stop it immediately. We would put an emergency step. Any reasonable person. Or if Mark Hutto gets up and he says, you're going to be driving my business off to Medford, then you wouldn't say, like a couple of weeks later, oh, by the way, we sure wouldn't want your business to go to Medford. They just told you that it was going to, and you pressed forward with that plan anyway. Do you see any sense of irony in that, Mr. Mayor? Any sense of, now we can't say this to him because, well, now we definitely won't, because if you can imagine writing it down, let's see, what is your topic? My topic is, why are you driving businesses away? They're not going to allow you to speak. Well, we're going to have to edit this for time and content.
Right, and of course they would never admit to that.
No,
that they don't accept the premise that that's what they're doing. That's the problem.
Well, they have an election
You
coming
know.
up. He said that they're going to have to cut this off prior to the election, because imagine what their chances would be if people knew the truth about them.
Yes. Well, you know what? It's gonna happen anyway. Just so
All right. Where in the world are they getting this information? I love this tiny little quote. Listen to the way this is said, and it's just eyes and ears and tentacles. Tentacles. Listen to this.
We have a lot of eyes and ears and tentacles out there in the community that help us up here on the dais to know what the pulse of Grants Pass is.
Really?
So they're spies. They're spies.
They have
is what they're
tentacles
saying.
out there?
Yeah, they have tentacles.
Oh,
yeah.
all right. That was obviously a stupid thing to say. We have tentacles out there, right? That was. It helps them keep track of the pulse of the community. That's not working out very well, you guys.
Yeah.
80% of the pulse says you're giving us a heart attack.
Well, yeah, and that really is the goofy thing about this, is that, then if you have all these tentacles out there and arms and ears and eyes and noses and toes and whatever, then how come this thing caught you by such a surprise? How come the thing failed and you're like, oh, I can't believe it.
I knew it was. I thought it might fail, but I didn't think it was going to fail that much. Hey, this is our money that you just spent.
Yeah.
Badly too, according to Sandy Casanelli yesterday, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, well, they're blaming us for giving you a choice. Yeah, we have a choice, all right. It's coming up in May, buddy.
Well, and this goes back to this argument that Cheryl has, that it's their job to put forth, ordinances,
bad ideas
and levies and measures of one form or another for you to vote on, and that's their job. And I'm not really sure that is their job. The idea, I think people too much want government to get something done, because that's been a line that's been out there, that government needs to get stuff done. And so they expect that these guys always have to be doing something, always doing something. And they even believe that they always have to be doing something and throwing a levy out there and
rules and regulations.
Rules and regulations or whatever. Hey, why don't you just stick to the job of managing the county? I believe that's the job that you have. And you know what?
I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what Darren Fowler is talking about next. Don't forget now that one reason he's real upset with me in particular was that I keep talking about the county. Well, Dale Matthews, you're talking about the county. This is the city you're talking to. Oh, really? Let me write that down. This is the city. This is the city. This is the city. We can't do anything about it. Now, watch what Darren Fowler has to say and see if he's talking about the city or the county. Go ahead, Mike.
I want to comment on our Board of Commissioner joint meeting on Monday. I was disappointed to hear that we are not going to get any proposals from our county commissioners before the term ends in November. That they have decided to leave it to someone else besides the three that were elected to lead our county.
This sounds vaguely reminiscent of the times when I get up and tell them what's going on with the county commissioners that they want to now cut off.
Yeah.
Isn't he doing exactly the same thing?
And I guess he's going to feel pressured to, offer the citizens another option or something like that. Or he challenged Cheryl, and Cheryl's picked up the baton there, by the way, and is going to run with it and be throwing levies at us. There'll be like 3 or 4 of them we'll have to dodge. So,
right. Now, tomorrow we're going to play back for you part of the discussion that the city councilors had with the county commissioners in their joint city. This is what he's talking about, their joint city county meeting, where the mayor is saying, hey, what are you guys going to do now that we've made this bad decision and been turned down by 80% of the public? Why don't you make a similar bad decision? And then, well, they already have. I mean, it started with the commit. Okay, and then that's where Cheryl came up with the idea of the 2016 levy that they've just kicked off. So he's
I
saying,
don't understand that. I don't know how to.
I assumed that you were cueing me for something.
I
there.
was. Go ahead and play that. That's fine. He doesn't understand that. Why they would not stick their neck out. Maybe he doesn't.
I don't know how to call them out on that, but I'm very frustrated by that because of how it affects us as a city. And you guys are as close to anyone to knowing the reality of that.
These guys know reality. They were a little off in reality this last time. And now he wants to call them out on that. The commissioners, except for Cheryl Walker, are reluctant to back, not a sales tax, they're reluctant to back yet another failed attempt to jam a property tax down on us. And Darren Fowler is frustrated that they don't want to do that.
Right. And it's funny because Cheryl has taken the bait on this and has and I think it's because they put it to her in such a way like, Cheryl, you're our only hope. Help us, Cheryl Walker, whatever.
I know.
You're our only hope.
I know the movie to which you are
yes.
alluding. Yes.
And so she thought, yes, I really am something here. And then she decides to come up with these things which are absolute political suicide. They are. If she gets up there and pushes those, she will lose by a greater margin than any of the other people that are going to be running for.
Not as big as Dawn Reedy, but I agree she's going to lose big time. She's pressing for another property tax. She's taking the Tony Webb approach. Let's make it 4 little property taxes. Tony just wants one to get the camel's nose in the tent. But that's exactly what she's doing. She's pressing for that. And then Simon Harris, well, I made it abundantly clear that no, you didn't. Well, I was saying it's about it. No, you didn't. You were talking about how it can be folded into the budget, Simon here. You were talking about, you and Keith were agreeing about, well, maybe this should be done in November. It was a strategy meeting of how to pass the next. You've got no new ideas. There's nothing new. And Fowler said, well, at the meeting that we're going to play for you tomorrow and talk about and laugh, he said, well, if you guys don't do this, it's not going to get done. Well, that's probably true. He's probably right. If they're replaced by a couple of fiscal conservatives, if Simon at some point in the future drops out, come November, we'll be voting for, are you ready for this? 3 new commissioners. Because whoever does this thing, if Simon drops out and they put in a temporary person, that person will only be in there to the next general election, would be coming up in November. There is a possibility that we would do a clean sweep, as they say in hockey, a hat trick, all 3 of them. That's possible. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to wait. He's going to have
it is. It's. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say. I think.
I was going to say.
Well, then I was going to say, and then Mike was going to say. No, there's a lag, obviously, and Simon's going to stay in. He's not going to quit now. He's going to wait till January gets here, and then he gets his full PERS. That's essential to this guy. Remember when he first ran, he said, I'm not going to take PERS. You can vote for me. And then once he was in for 4 years and he got elected again, he said, could I have PERS retroactive? Oh, sure. That's no problem. He wants this thing again. He wants to kick in there with his 5th year so he gets PERS the rest of his life based on his time in jail. No, well, based on something that he feels that he's done. Mike?
Yep. And well, I am I'm wondering about the logistics of this whole thing. In June, you have May, you have a primary.
Right.
And that's going to eliminate a lot of the candidates that are running for each of these open commissioner seats. So if there is going to be an election in November and Simon and we're voting on in May whether or not to remove Simon Hare, how are we going to primary down the list of candidates that are going to run for his open seat come November?
Oh, there wouldn't be any primary. There would just be the general election. They won't. Those candidates won't
Yeah,
have
so
to go
there'd be
through the
like,
primary.
you know, 10 people, and whoever gets the most votes out of the 10 people running or whatever. Yeah, okay.
And who's going to be on that
Interesting.
list? Well, there's going to be people who don't make it through the primary. You already know who we probably think won't make it through the primary. And probably all of those people are going to run for Simon Hare's position.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because they're going to run again. They get a second bite at the apple, don't they?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And their motto will be, I think I can go to a meeting and not end up in jail.
Yes.
Well, can these county commissioners, you remember the picture, got it right here, buddy. Can these county commissioners, while I'm talking, can these county commissioners that are running for re-election, can they end up in a meeting? Oh, should have been better timing. Can they end up in any meeting at all without breaking the law? The penalties for this are stronger than the penalties against Simon Hare. When you break the open public meeting law, and the Oregon Government Ethics Commission, a stupid part of the law, probably, they could, if they threw the book at them, Mike, this is what I want for Christmas, throw the book at them, they could each get 4 years in jail. Not Pat Fahey. He's just aiding them in breaking the law, Pat Fahey over here. But Cheryl and Keith, they already said they know what the law is. They don't care. They could have easily walked through that door behind them, but they're doing it not because they're saying, ha ha, I know the camera's looking at me. It never occurs to them that they're breaking the law. They don't care, first of all, and who's going to do anything about it? The only people who could do something about it's you. In the audience, you're the only ones. The more people we get watching the show, the more they'll say, oh, I never really thought about that. Well, you may disagree, but you should at least think about it or know about it. Yeah, that's not good, buddy. Not good. Okay, so next clip, please, Mike.
That I'm starting to get a little shaky on that 18-month deadline out there, what my city's going to look like, how we're going to do the things that keep us in the business of keeping our citizens safe.
Does he even realize what he's saying? What was it that he just said about keeping us in business? Mike? I can't
Yeah,
hear
I'm getting
Mike.
a lot of choppiness.
Oh, okay,
Getting a lot of choppiness there. Sorry.
Well, what he was just saying, what he just said, see, it comes out. It just comes out. It's once again, it's like the guy that has the fish symbol on his bumper, and then somebody cuts him off, and then he flips him off. Okay, they just can't help it. It just comes oozing out of them. And in this case, he says, that he's worried that this decision of what effect it might have on keeping us in the business of deciding what's good for the city. Yeah. They're interested in the next election. What will keep them in business? What will keep them in their positions? How will they get reelected? He just told you that was his concern. Want to play that back again, Mike? Can you do that without too much trouble, or is that too much trouble? He may not be able to hear me clearly. Sorry.
That I'm starting to get a little shaky on that 18-month deadline out there, what my city's going to look like, how we're going to do the things that keep us in the business of keeping our citizens safe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's revealing, just me. Okay, so next he's going to talk about the physical cliff, as he puts it, but we know what he means. Look, the point is that, as Cheryl Walker said, and Simon Hare said it too, on the joint city-county meeting, nobody in Washington, D.C. is talking about renewing the money that we get that is part of our contract. There's a reason nobody's talking about it, because they approved it for 2 years. So technically, yes, they are telling you the truth. And on a practical basis, no, they're lying to you, because they're cheating us. Because no, nobody's talking about it. Well, you've got 2 years of funding. Oh, now they're not talking. No, of course they're not talking about it because we have 2 years of funding. There's no discussions about, no, there would be no discussions because we have 2 years of funding. Yep. We're not fooled by this. We're not fooled by this, but let the mayor describe what the physical cliff is that we're approaching, brother.
I know there's a lot of hard prayers going on already because this year is going to be a very interesting one for our city to try and parallel not only an election, but the physical cliff that is coming for us as a county. So I want to keep that in front of this council over the next year.
For us as a county, now, Mr. Matthews, I don't want you talking about the county. This is the city council. You should only talk about things that we can do something about. And he just said, this is the fiscal cliff that's coming up for us as a county. So don't do what do as I say, not as I do, or whatever.
Something like that.
Okay, so then he's going to finish up that thought with how obviously the county people are not willing to stick their neck out there because they're not good leaders, Mike. Go ahead.
Anyway, we've got to help carry them along because they're obviously not willing to put their neck out there that far. So we're going to have to help them along as best we can, and that means on the side personally, as well as what we can do as an entire council.
See the city manager smiling about that? Yep, they're going to have, and so they did have these side discussions with Cheryl Walker, and she bit hard. Okay, Mike, we can stop now because we're just a little over 45 minutes, or we can play the last clip, your choice.
Let's get on out of here.
Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. We will play back for you at another time the fact that the city council feels that it's swimming in money and laughing about it. Isn't that nice? And they're still going to try to pass the tax anyway, even though they've got plenty of money. We will play that for you another time. And so tomorrow, we will let you see the inside workings of a joint city and county meeting. Oh boy, that sounds like a fun time. And we will talk about it, laugh about it, and make it as lively as we can with sock puppets maybe and such. Well, maybe not. But thank you very much for joining us, Mike Jones. As it's kind of unusual to have you here, but I'm glad to see that you could make it.
Yeah, thanks.
See you guys later. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Now, if I can find the right button to turn this off, here it is.